God-given. Okay? Now, in my career, I relocated 4 times. One relocated me to Miami, to the corporate office. I'm a field employee. Go to corporate, they're a little snooty. When y'all sometimes go to Washington, D.C., and they're a little snooty up there? No. They're not. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. I knew y'all was going to say that. I knew it. That's why I said it. They're a little snooty. So they told me that my edges were just a little rough. All right, they going to stay rough. But if you screw me out, you ain't not going to have me. Okay? So I'm down in Miami, in the corporate office. And the promoter's home girl. You know, you have to wear different clothes. You have to put on full suits and stuff. Couldn't just put on skirt and blouse and stuff like that. Had to put on pantyhose. But I relocated back to Dallas. My boss, now let me tell you, it's hard to manage me, and I'm not right next door to you. You trying to manage me 1,000 miles away. Okay. Well now, my boss called me, and she said, I need you to come to Miami so I can give you your performance review. Okay. So I get there, she says, Joann, you've done an excellent job. Marvelous job. You saved this company $2.5 million consecutively for the last 5 years from EO losses. You are technically skilled. You know the law. You have helped this company. However, all of this right here, I don't hear no more. I'm over here on the however. And you just see, you know, I forgot all about this good stuff you done said. I'm ready to hear this however. People say, you are dismissive, condescending, and intimidating. Yeah. That's me. Know thyself. Know thyself. Because if you've heard it more than one time from different managers, chances are it's true. So I said to her, I said, yeah, I can be a little dismissive. Because when I see ignorance, I address it and I dismiss it. And this thing about condescending, yeah, I can feel a little condescending, especially if somebody asks me a question and they make more money than I do, right, and they should know the answer. And maybe just a tinge of condescending. Just a tinge, not much. But this intimidation thing, I don't own. Here's why. Because intimidation is a chosen response to my greatness. What the hell can I do about that? Come on now. You choose to be intimidated by me. Well, Joann, you know your very presence intimidates people. What? You want me to die? I said, I didn't say that. You don't have to say a word. You just step in the room and everybody's intimidated. What am I supposed to do about that? Who are they? Give me an example when I was intimidated. Talk to me. We need to be careful about the labels that people want to place on you. So there's a double meaning when it comes to people of color. Well, that's the truth, whether we like it or not. The same word with arrogant. Arrogant for a white man versus a black man is different. Ask T.O. Ask any of them. You know, wherever. That's just an example. I mean, some people, you know, you just have to be careful about the labels when they come to you talking about they. Who is they? And what's their name? Where does they live? Can I find they in the phone book? Because if they ain't in the phone book, you ain't telling me nothing that's going to increase my potential of being a better employee. Do y'all get where I'm going with this? Don't let them get away with it. Don't let people come here and say, throwing out all these adjectives to describe who you are. Give me an example when I did that and see what happened. response would be. They're going to have to struggle. Don't let them get away with that day stuff. And don't you do it either. Because that's what feedback is all about. You got to be able to sit down, have your facts together.
That's right.
Have your facts together. If this person is doing this and this, you on this date, you did such and such. This and your feedback's got to include one thing. One, it's got to describe the behavior. Secondly, you got to talk about, you describe it and when it happened. Okay? And then third, here's what we need to do to make it go away or get better. Make sense? That's got to be your method. Your whole intent is for that person to be better. But when you start throwing in they, and I'm not sure, but it happened one day, I can't remember that day, hey, you don't want anybody doing you that way, don't you do it. Make sense? Okay. Sure. The impact of that behavior tells them how that behavior is affecting you and the team or the business. You got to do that. We as managers, we have to do the work. And a lot of times we don't want to do the work. We're tired. Because guess what? You got 8 in there who ain't doing the job. You in there trying to do their job. Because then you burn out. You upset. You burn out. You tired. We have to do a better job in management. Feedback is critical to an employee's advancement and continued employment, quite frankly. Because you know how it is when your boss calls you in for your bear. You don't want no surprises, do you?
No.
Haven't you been surprised? Didn't even know it was going to happen. You know, all of a sudden, well, you know, and this is, what? When did that happen? They're not going to tell you. Get surprised every once in a while. I'm upset. Okay? That's I don't like that. Don't assume that you're right, even after you have collected all the facts. Make sure you have everything laid down and you get the full picture. Give them a chance. Give them a chance to give their side of it. Don't you want to get a chance to give your side? Would you want somebody to be fair enough to say, well, hear me out? Well, it changes the action or not. I want to be heard. I want to go on record. Say it. A lot of people will not sign their performance review. They say, I'm not signing this, or I refuse to sign, or I signed this under protest. I want to add an addendum. I've done that a many times. I was always wrong. I mean, I'm being honest about it. I could have done it a better way, I'll tell you that. Okay? Ask questions, make it a learning experience. You want to know more. Okay? That's all you're trying to do. Follow through. Once you have talked about it in the performance review or in just a feedback session, do follow up. Make sure it's going on. One of the things that I did as a manager, because I hated being a manager. I really thought I wanted to be a boss. Once I understand all the things that go into trying to manage people, y'all, that's hard. And so what I would do is I develop a one-on-one meeting, luncheon with my employees. Once a month, they have a total hour to 2 hours with me at lunch to tell me everything. Okay, what am I doing? What do you want me to keep doing? What do you want me to stop doing? What can I do better? And I'm cringing all while I'm asking these questions. But I'm writing them down because it makes me better as a manager. You cannot be afraid or back away from the hard questions. Okay? To be a better leader, one of the things to do is select the best people, because you know what? You are, as I said, you are as good as your employees. That's just it. You're as good as your employees. And if you don't went and hired or selected your sister, nephew's cousin, uncle, neighbor's child, and they get in there and they can't do the job, that's a problem. You heard that word, baby. I know he laughing. He know what I'm talking about. It happens all the time. You know, and you got to reward your employees and feel good about. And I talk about this all the time, and Marsha's heard it 1,000 times. And I don't care, but I'm going to say it again. You got to reward your employees. And when I went to Miami, I didn't know the culture. I didn't care about the culture. I had 8 employees working for me. 7 women, 1 man. Young man, single. They gave him hell every day. Now, aside from having to handle all of the EEO complaints nationwide for 40,000 employees, we also had the task of OFCCP audits. And that's a 45 to 55-day process, which means that they travel 85% of the time. Okay? And so for me, I wanted to reward. Oh, Ed is here. Hey, honey. He heard it too. But that's all right, because you know what? That's my homeboy. That's right. See, I like letting people know where I'm from. I'm from Arkansas. He heard me say that like 4 or 5 years ago. He said, all right. And then when I told him I graduated from UAPB, he said, hey! Because so did he. So I let people know where I'm from, because you don't know, but you could have kinfolk. All over here. You understand? Yeah. Last year, how many of you all, I'm going to get back, baby. Tell me where I was. I'm going to get back. You remember where I was? Okay. Last year, how many of you all was in Baltimore? Baltimore wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
It was horrible for the speakers. Because some of you all went into classes, nobody was there. And a lot of speakers, we show up here, we pay our air, our hotel, we buy inventory so that we can come here. They don't big pay for nothing. Not a dime. Which is why when the speakers finish, they want you to try to buy some of their stuff so they can defray the cost of being here. Okay? Not one dime. And last year, some of the speakers showed up, and guess what? They didn't have a room, their name wasn't in the book, they wasn't on the schedule, and they had already paid their money to be. Not good. Now, of course, that didn't happen to the people. That happened to me. You know, I'm one of God's favorite daughters. Understand? Always been that for me. And so, I did good, and I decided I was going to go down to the exhibit hall to be a blessing. I've been blessed. I'm going to be a blessing to somebody else down there. They're trying to sell their stuff, so I'm going to buy this necklace I want to buy. They had, you remember when they evacuated the building? Yeah. There was a clue